Hey, what's going on? I'm MK, or Midnight Cafe. I'm submitting my run for the world record, starting whenever I press go and split, all that crap. I'm not a speedrunner. I don't generally do this kind of thing. I just really enjoyed this game, and as I started playing it more, I got faster, and eventually I was like, hey, I wonder what the world record is, so I checked it out. And then I was like, hey, I'm doing this pretty fast. Maybe I should try for the world record. And I did a little bit of routing and a few small tweaks here and there, but it's mostly just coming down to RNG and that sort of thing. I still make a bunch of mistakes, but I saved 25 minutes over the current world record, so I figured I'd make a little commentary, talk about what's going on, kind of what's going through my head as I'm playing this game. Like I said, I've still got some mistakes, but the key thing is I don't die. I save a bunch of time grinding money, and just some small things here and there that I think speed up the run a little bit. But the main thing is I try to avoid as many enemy encounters as possible. Instead of front loading the grinding for money, I try to put it towards the back. So the beginning is pretty standard. And I apologize because my commentary is going to dwindle as I go. I'm not a very good talker. I'm more of a doer. So I watched the current world record holder to see what he was doing and stuff and kind of mess around with the route a little bit. But most of this route actually comes from when I was trying to get the achievement for the 3 heart run, because you have to play it super fast, super cautiously, and you don't need any of the upgrades or anything for the most part. So I was just cruising through after my hard mode playthrough, and then I was like, wow, I did that pretty quick. Maybe I should actually try to do a legit run. So I did some attempts. I set up a very rudimentary timer. I'm sorry if it looks terrible. I just wanted something to keep track of my progress. But the main thing is that right now I'm trying to get decent RNG on money. The currency in this game is kind of hard to come by, and also very easy to come by if you're lucky. There's a few spots where it's like just kind of chilling out in the open, but for the most part you're relying on like grass, enemies, pots, that sort of thing. And in this case, I'm just trying to run a straight line to the first major objective while cutting down as few things as possible. I only really go for grass when I'm going for like 2 or 3 blades at a time, because I find if you're going for single blades of grass or going out of your way for it or whatever, you're just kind of bleeding time. So what I do is I just try to follow a straight line as much as possible, with some deviations depending on like how RNG goes, or like how I'm feeling, or if I think I might want to chance it, that sort of thing. I avoid a lot of the enemy encounters, like I said, as much as possible, because I feel like anytime you need to pull your sword out, you're losing time. So I try to minimize it and only really do it in the dungeons and stuff where you need to progress. So, believe it or not, this is like my first major run killer. I'm not very good at the combat in this game. I find it incredibly janky. I kind of got a feel for it as time went on, but it just, I died there so many times just trying to figure out what to do and how to do it and all that stuff. So you kill those 3 dudes at the top and you rescue the child, which is part of a quest. Now, interestingly enough, you do not need to talk to the child, but you do need to talk to another person you rescued later. I dropped down here to get that 10 Saffel? Yeah, Saffel. I forgot what the currency was called. Played this game so much and I don't even know my information. But it's just chilling in the grass there, so I see it as an easy out. Now, this is kind of like the godfish. He was so close to the ledge. I was just like, oh my god, we got a run going. So I continued it out as much as possible, because sometimes that fish can be close to the other wall, and it's really annoying. Like, there was one time where I jumped over to get the fish, and I swear I lost like 20 seconds just going to get the fish. So I was really happy that it showed up there. The main thing I'm trying to do right now is, again, getting money. It's not such a big deal as the run goes on, but the first dungeon is where money is super important, and you'll see why in a little bit. But right now, I want to aim for at least 250 before I finish the dungeon, or around that ballpark. But ideally, I want to get about 300. 330, I'm sitting pretty. But that's only really happened to me once, and I totally botched that run. Little small optimization is just like, you know, running as soon as you get off a ladder. It's stupid stuff like that. Like, I don't fully understand the movement in this game. Like, sometimes I get knocked out of my jaw, or knocked out of my sprint for like no reason. Usually it's during like area transitions and stuff. There's a lot that I have questions on. Like damage calculations for one. Sometimes you can hit a slime and he'll die in one hit. Other times he will take 3 hits, and I don't know why. I think it has something to do with like how your sword passes through the enemies. Something like active hitboxes or like counterattacks. I don't know. But regardless, I just try to mitigate as much as I can by just parrying when I can. But sometimes, like, I find this game drops inputs. I don't know if it's just me, maybe it's my controller. But sometimes I'll be pressing triangle or square and it just doesn't do anything. I'm not sure if there's like attack priority or something like that, but it's very weird. The main thing that I'm aiming for here is to try to stay full health as much as possible, and I'm taking a lot of stupid hits because, you know, I'm not really committed to the run yet. I'm like, oh, this is going good, but, you know, runs usually die in like the 2nd or 3rd dungeon or whatever, so I'm just kind of feeling out the waters, but as you'll see, this eventually goes pretty good. But yeah, being full health as much as possible. I feel like the loot tables are weighted in favor of money as long as you're full health. You don't seem to get any heart drops or anything, so you'll either get money or nothing. And depending on what you attack seems to have some sort of bearing on what kind of money you get. I find pots and enemies are good for red saffle, but grass seems heavily weighted towards blue. You can get red from grass, but it's very rare in my opinion, and I don't really rely on it, so I try to avoid cutting grass as much as possible. But I go out of my way for pots because, as you'll see, pots pay dividends. I'm also killing a bunch of enemies along the way because, like I said, I'm trying to get at least 250, and as long as I'm not taking too many hits, it's not really much of a time loss. It's one of those things where it's like, I would rather have a run complete and be improvable than die on the spot because of some stupid stuff. I also swear a lot, and I'm trying to be good, so I apologize if I slip a few out, but you know, I might get excited as the run goes on, so I'm trying to be on my best behavior here. But yeah, so I'm just going through, trying to keep my health up, trying to get the money. I've been through these dungeons so many times that I pretty much got them memorized, so I'm not really a route planning kind of guy. I'm just kind of like feeling it out as I go. I have an idea of where I want to go, and I have an idea of how to do the rooms, but you're going to see a lot of times where I just like go the wrong way, or I don't know, just miss the objective of a room. Like, what used to hang me up was there's some rooms that lock or have a chest that only spawns when you kill all of the enemies. And I'm just like running through the room trying to save time, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta kill all the enemies. So then you gotta run all the way back and then start over because you screwed up. Running under there manipulates this guy up top with the sword to come down, and this time around I decided to fight him. Usually I try to go by him, but as you'll see, I almost died to him. It's pretty funny because I was like, oh man, if I die here when I got Godfish, I'm gonna be so mad. But I got a bunch of hearts. I need to come in here to get the boss keys so that I can actually fight the boss. I tried to like jump attack that slime, but I landed on top of him and just did a little bouncy castle. I was actually having fun with it. Like I said, like, I'm not a speedrunner. I just kind of did this for fun to see if I could, to challenge myself. And I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. Like, yeah, a lot can be improved upon. Like, by all means, take this run and go with it and just improve the hell out of it and get a low time. But I'm just happy to be on the leaderboard if my run gets accepted. So here we got the first boss. Not really much to him. I'm just doing triple hit combos and parrying when I think he's going to attack. What's really weird about the enemies in this game is that they're predictable but unpredictable. So like you can have an idea of what an enemy is going to do and kind of pace it out. Like I usually do about 1.5 attacks and then parry and it'll counter. But at the same time, like they can double their animations and stuff. Like spear guys especially are really annoying because they can just like stab you twice really quick, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about it if you miss the first parry. But yeah, I ended up with 302 at the end of this dungeon, so that is more than enough to buy the haste upgrade scroll, which I'm going to be getting shortly. But I'm also thinking about the haste potion as well, which I'm not going to get right away for a reason you'll see in a few moments. But right now, I just figured I'll cut that grass, hope for the best. Doesn't work out. Like, you could probably save 5 minutes on this run with RNG alone, but I am not going down that rabbit hole. So I come in here and I'm like, all right, so if I can get 330, I can skip a bunch of pots. Come on, I get $2. Mainly I came back to this town first because, or sorry, after the dungeon, because if you come to this town first, you're just wasting a bunch of time. There's no real reason to come here. You don't have to like accept quests or anything like that. You just have to check the boxes. So I saved the kid at the top of the mountain. I got the redfish, which is what I dropped off. This is where you save the kid, and inside there's a chest. So that's a heart piece right there. And then I'm thinking about money too. Like I'm really focusing on the early game money. So I come up here to grab this free tenor essentially. It's just kind of chilling in the grass. Don't even gotta talk to the chief. Grab the chest, get the dojo pass, which will allow me to buy skills. And then I just save and quit so that I pop out in the sanctuary. This puts me back and skips like running back through the town and running back through the grassy plains part. But you end up like pretty much right at the dojo. So there's a lot of saving and quitting going on. It just saves a lot of time. There's one I do later on where I'm not sure if it actually saves time, but I did it because it felt right. And I'll bring that up when it comes. But for right now, I'm just trying to get the upgrade to the haste potion. Because the haste potion makes you move more quickly, and especially when you have your sword out. And, you know, this is a speed run, so you want to move fast, right? So I don't have the haste potion yet, but I have the upgrade. So for whatever reason, when you save and quit in the dojo, it puts you out right in front of the forest sanctuary teleporter. So it kind of screws me up sometimes. There's things in this game where I'm not sure if they're oversights or intended or glitches. And I really don't know, but that's one of them. And there's another one that happens later that I'm still not sure on. But yeah, I'm just like trying to avoid encounters and stuff, bait this guy out for the heart piece. And then I found out that if you just walk off here, you don't take any damage. But for this in particular, I jumped and took 2 damage. So kind of stupid health loss on my part, but whatever. Kill these guys. Now this guy you have to talk to get him to go back to the town. I had a run die on me because I did really well, got back to town, and I'm like, where's the dude? Turns out you gotta talk to him. So I'm just heading into town because there's some stuff that I want to get that's on the other side of town, but I also want to one, get the haste potion, which I'll be doing in a second. But there's a bunch of pots in this town. And like I said earlier, pots are, I feel, when you're full health, heavily weighted towards giving you money, especially like red sapple. And that adds up quickly. Like if you get good pot RNG, you can be swimming in cash. Like sometimes you'll get nothing like that, and sometimes you'll get like 40, and it's a big difference. I just like running across this wall. I don't know why. I'm just like one of those weird guys that likes to do stupid platforming. So it's important that I grab this heart because right now I'm about to get the heart upgrade right there. If I skip that and come back for it on the way through, I get a heart upgrade in this screen, which increases my health, but I'm setting up for a death warp. So I need my health to activate first and this to only give me half a health, which is going to save a little bit of time. Just breaking open some pots. And now what I want to do here is if you fall in the lava, it does 3 damage. I want to set up my health so that when I get the heart piece, I'm one hit away from death. So I let that guy hit me, I let this guy hit me, grab the crystal, then come back around, let this guy hit me again if he swings, and then I come over to the spear dude who's right beside where the heart piece is. Let him stab me real quick. I was scared that he was going to double stab me and kill me, but I come down here, get the health piece, and jump in the lava. And then this sets up a little death warp because you can't save and quit. It'll send you back to the sanctuary, so you have to continue because it'll put you at the beginning of the area, and then you can just run back into town. Now is where I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go get the haste potion. Like I said, I'm not very good at this, so I get very forgetful, but the haste potion, very important. What the scroll did was it makes it so that the haste potion stays with you until you die. So as long as I don't die, I'm moving fast. And that is insanely important for going fast in this run. But it does have its detriments. In the ice area, going fast on ice is really bad. You can easily fall in the water and stuff and screw up your run. So you got to kind of alternate between jog. This health piece right here is the bane of my existence because this like little rock face, I'm taking it carefully because right here, you can easily slide off and lose all the progress up this wall. So I lose a little bit of time by trying to get up there and taking it carefully, but I ultimately don't care that much. I was like, I'd rather just make it up there and play it safe than lose time and essentially a run by just falling off the mountain. So grab the health piece, which puts me at full health and sets me up for the dungeon. This dungeon is pretty quick, honestly. Like, I think when this dungeon goes well, it might be my favorite run because it's more or less just a straight line with like a few deviations. I think these flamethrowers are on like a global timer, so as long as you run into this room, it seems to be consistent every time. And every time I jump in front of a door, I'm losing a little bit of time because I think I'm just pressing A a little bit too early, and I'm jumping before I get to the door instead of actually opening it. But it happens a lot. It's annoying, but it's whatever. I'm trying to route some money. Now, I had this idea mid-dungeon, right? Because my RNG was going pretty good for cash, so I was like, hey, what if I minimize the amount of backtracking that I actually have to do? And in this particular case, I'm talking about the heart piece, and I want to get a revive potion. Now, the revive potion is not necessary. If you're good, you probably won't need it. I'm not good, so I'm using it as kind of a, like a, I can't think of a good analogy, like a pillow. Basically, I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway so that if I do die, I don't lose my haste potion, and it really only sets me back 80 bucks. So I'm trying to route around that on the fly. I find with this game, not everything goes to plan. I do like this kill here with the spiders and this guy. I just kind of get them all at the same time. Felt really good. I wish I could do that more consistently. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the revive potion. So I do a lot of the routing on the fly because I have an idea of what I want to do, but everything just doesn't go according to plan at all the times. So I'm trying to like figure things out on the fly. And one thing that I've been toying with, and it works out sometimes it kills me, but it's grouping up enemies like that, which is pretty fast but super dangerous. And I'm looking over the ledge here because part of me believes that maybe you can skip this little backtrack section by just jumping down there, but I don't know and I haven't tested it. And while I did kind of watch the world record run, I didn't really pay much attention to it. I more like had it on in the background while I was doing something else because I was just curious like what he talks about and what he does and stuff. And the big thing that came up was money. So I knew that I had to figure out something to just route the money a little better. And what I eventually settled on was, instead of trying to like take out individual enemies and tufts of grass and stuff like that, that I would try to front load as much of the routing as possible. I'm gonna kick my cat out. He's being super loud right now while I'm trying to record this. Just give me a second. Echo. Can't be So yeah, anyway, I figured like trying to get as much money straight up was important, but the middle of the game has a lot more leeway because you don't really need that much money. You just need like enough for the heart pieces. You need to be able to buy the house, which is 450, and you need to be able to buy the upgrades, as well as like potions if you need them. Like I go for the revive potion because it's just that kind of like that extra padding that I need to kind of do some risky stuff and feel good about myself. Haste potion, absolutely essential. I toyed around with the idea of getting the berserk potion early because it cuts down on your health drops a little bit, which would increase the money. But I figured it was ultimately a little bit too far out of the way, and it's only really useful for the increased damage and stuff that it gives you. So I more or less just kind of routed this around like going fast. I was like, I am speed. I need to go fast, and that means running in a straight line as much as possible. So kill the boss. Oh yeah, speaking of splits, I'm splitting on every orb that I pick up. The one that I have at the end for the grind, I split as soon as I buy the last scroll, and then the end is just like the final cleanup and beating the game. But I wasn't really sure how to split this because originally I was like, oh, I'll just copy what the world record splits are doing. But then I realized that like he's doing a lot of stuff differently from me. So I was like, what's something that's just straightforward? I don't really need to think about too much because I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not accustomed to splitting. I really have to think about like letting go of the controller and hitting my spacebar or whatever. But anyway, I save and quit, came back here, get the hammer, that'll be important later. Break some pots for extra money. Right now I don't, like, money's important, but I also don't want to go too hard on the money because you cap out at 500 until you get the wallet upgrade. So I'm mostly here for the power armor, which is super useful for the next part. Like, I tried doing this without the power armor, and it's just not a fun time. So this is why I routed the heart piece and the revive potion, because with the power armor, the revive potion, and the extra health, it makes this part a lot more comfortable. Because if you go in here without the armor, you're gonna get railed. Like, these plants hit so friggin' hard. But anyway, we're back in the grassy plains because there's this area that was added as part of an update later. Like, I only played this game recently, as of a couple of months ago, and, you know, I just really enjoyed it. I was like, it's janky, but it's fun, it's short, it's sweet. But then I got to this area, and I was taken aback, because as soon as that music hits, I was like, that's Kiwi 64. I've played this game. I love that song. So it really sold it for me, and it's still one of my favorite areas in the game, just because of like the way it's laid out and the music. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just skipping all the enemies, skipping all the plants. I see no reason to grind them. I just know that I need to get in here, kill these vines and stuff, and I'm trying to be as aggressive as possible, but like, you know, damage calculations are weird. Depth perception is weird sometimes, so I whiff a lot of my attacks. I just ignore all the plants, grab the magic feathers, and then I'm out. There's a red sapphire here in the grass, so I grabbed that. But mostly we're just trying to go to the Kiwi level and get the gold armor, which originally I thought was going to be a lot harder than it actually is. Now, I didn't spend much time routing this area out. I just kind of know that, like, there's 3 red plants that you need to get rid of, and I kind of get whacked by a lot of the tentacles, so I spend a little bit of time just trying to get some hearts back, but you only really need to kill the red flowers to move on. So you'll see me just kind of taking a little extra time to like fight the tentacles and try to get some health back, because the big flower that you have to fight hits friggin' hard, man. So I don't want to die to him at this point. The run's going too good. A little bit of time lost here. I could have grabbed this when I did the return trip, but whatever. I wanted the money. But doing some bouncy mushrooms because we got to get up here. There's only actually 3 flowers. I don't know why, but I remember there being more of them, so I thought this was going to be terrible, but it's not. It's super quick. Also, this song, love it. But yeah, at this point, I'm just like, you know what? My health's okay. I'm just gonna kill the flower and run. I apologize if I'm clearing my throat a lot. I'm very introverted and soft-spoken, so I don't talk a lot. So I got a glass of water, and I'm trying to do my best here. But yeah, this is the last flower here. Once I get him down, grab that last heart, and then we boing off this mushroom. You can just clip through this bridge. It's kind of funny. But yeah, we're just heading into this little hole in the tree because this is where the gold armor is. Which is kind of funny because this area is a whole lot bigger on the inside. Now this flower right here sucks. He hits hard, he can double attack. I go for him first and hope that the other ones don't get me because it just mitigates a lot of damage. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but see, like, I am trying my best to like parry these fires, but I'm just not doing a great job, and I'm losing a lot of health for it, so I'm playing this part a little more safe. You do have to kill the vines in this room in order to unlock the door, so you just see me being like overly cautious in the parries and trying to dodge this fire and whatnot. Like, the parry's so broken when you can get it to use, because you can, or get it to work, because it can pretty much block anything, but it has some weird properties to it, like a lot of the combat in this game. Like, I love this game, but it's jank, like hardcore jank. So yeah, golden armor, save and quit. Now we're gonna head into the ice area. Golden armor is pretty much the power armor, but you have a monocle, and it allows it so that when you lock onto enemies, you can see their health values, which I really don't use that much. I probably should have spent some more time like figuring around with different attacks and seeing what does more damage and all that. But I've just kind of got these strats that, again, are like hard-coded into me from doing like a hard mode playthrough. I did the basic sword and blue armor playthrough, and I did the 3 heart playthrough, which was kind of brutal. Some of the sections are kind of crappy. Cutting that grass there, and then I realized, wait a minute, I'm just gonna pick up some heart containers over here, so I might as well just go and get the hearts, and then that'll refill my health. See, like, this kind of stuff I didn't really practice, so I'm just kind of like, I don't know, being an idiot. One important thing about the haste potion is that it's very easy to slide off of these platforms if you're sprinting, so I generally toggle to the jog. I also really like this song. Kind of reminds me of like Bomberman 64 or something. But yeah, I'm skipping Velfenhut entirely because I don't need to go there until after the dungeon. There's no reason whatsoever. But I do need to collect all the items, so I got the snowman hat, I got the heart piece here, and now I need to screw up on this rock because, I don't know, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Probably just bad angle on my part. It just goes to show that if you copy exactly what I do but do it better, you can have an easy world record. And I encourage you to do so, just please credit me. Because I did put in some work. But yeah, grab the blue flower, come over here, get the woodcutter axe. And now this part always scares me for some reason. I don't know, just you gotta slow it down, take that jump carefully. It's not that bad once you get it, but I don't know, jumping from a high point onto ice physics always has bad connotations. So I feel like it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be, but it's also kind of dangerous. This is the part I was talking about where I'm not sure if it saves time by saving and quitting, because you have to either go back across the ice platforms or swim in the water. And I was like, if I swim in the water, I'm probably going to lose like 30 seconds just getting back to shore. It's so slow in the water. So my thought process is that I have the haste potion. I'm just going to sprint across the tundra. I'll take my chances. Probably a time loss, but hey, it sounded good at the time in my head. At this point in the run, like I'm feeling more confident. Like I didn't get as much practice in with the back half of the dungeons, which is unfortunate because small mistakes and just screwing up, going the wrong way, that sort of thing. But I do a pretty decent job this time around. Like I don't know, there's just a few things here and there that'll point out that can be improved upon, but I think I did okay. Just running up to the dungeon now. There's nothing else to get. I got all the stuff in this area. I'll drop it off in Velfen Hut after I beat the boss. It does make me wonder though, now that I'm thinking about it, like if you went to Mukari, and did that dungeon first, theoretically, and got the wings, would you save time? You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things that could probably be improved upon. It's just kind of food for thought because, like, teleporting around would be so much more efficient, but at the same time, you wouldn't have the haste potion and the scrolls and stuff. So, I don't know. I'm not gonna frig with it, but you can if you want. Like, I pretty much decided going into this that I wanted to do the run just to prove to myself that I could do it and that I wasn't going to touch it after that. Because for me, playing the games and having fun with them is far, far more important than getting a good time. But this was just one of those cases where I was like, I think I could actually do it without, like, stressing myself out too badly. Like, you can see on my my splits that this is only my 11th run after I, like, started timing, and it went really well. Now, I'm trying to be careful on this ice. That's why I switched to jog, because you just sprint all over the place when you have the haste potion, and it's very hard to control. I actually fall in the spikes at one point a little bit later because of that. I just forgot to switch. But yeah, I'm just trying to get the keys and go through and get all the stuff. This is one of those dungeons where I've screwed myself up by, like, not realizing that I had to kill all the enemies in a room. And, like, then there's times where I, like, try to kill all the enemies in the room, but it's actually a switch, like this one. I figured no point in fighting that guy, I'm just gonna take the hit. Do not jump in the water, it is so slow. That's why I just do it this way. Unnecessary glide, but I probably double tap my jump or something. This is one of the rooms where you do have to kill... No, you don't have to kill everybody. This one is just 2 chests. And I only realized that after I killed this guy. I was like, wait, this is the map. Oh yeah, the other one's just hanging out. So I just go for it. A lot of times you can just wrap around enemies like this. Again, this is what I learned just playing, like, hard mode and stuff. This hard mode is actually, like, really hard. I would be impressed to see, like, 100% hard mode run. I think that would be super cool, but I'm not gonna do it. Normal was fun. I think hard mode would become a little bit tedious because enemies just do, like, so much damage. And it's very easy to get chipped down in a room if you just take a couple of hits. Like, when they swing at you and just clip you as you're walking by, that really adds up. So these enemies right here are kind of annoying because they're on, like, a cycle where they're just, like, vulnerable when they're visible and invincible when they're invisible. That was weird to say, but you know what I mean. They do have an interesting thing that can happen to them that I noticed probably before, but it was really apparent right here. You'll see in a second. I remember it's this guy specifically. I'm attacking him, and he switches into his transparent form, but he's still visible, so I'm, like, swinging at him and nothing's happening. It doesn't happen too frequently, but it's enough to be annoying. Anyway, gotta kill all the guys in the room so I can open this door. I think this is a different room for a second, so that's why I checked over there, and I was like, no, wait, the switch is over here. This is a room where you have to kill everybody. Not to get the treasure chest or anything, but to get out. And it's kind of annoying like that, so I just kind of kill everybody along the way and hope for the best. I'm sure, like, for these guys, like, if they're not visible, you could always get them on the return trip or something, but I like to think about it, like, fairly laterally in the sense that I just want to get them out of the way and then run in a straight line as much as possible on the way back. Big shoutouts to the soundtrack, like, the guy who did this. There's two soundtracks for this game, actually. I guess it's the original soundtrack. I played with this one specifically my first time, but the original soundtrack is okay, but not that great. This one is actually very, very good. A lot of good tracks. It just has a very nostalgic, invoking mood. Like, it gives you that very strong, like, N64 Zelda vibes. I especially love, like, the ice themes and some of the other themes. Of course, the Kiwi one, but that is neither here nor there. So anyway, got all the keys. Just gotta make it to the boss now, but I just got a quick stop off to make. I'm more or less just trying to fill up my health with these hearts and stuff because bosses, while they can be fairly predictable, they can be also really damaging. This is where I fall because I just lost control. And then I debated trying to jump around this guy, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna kill him. Gotta get this heart piece, and then I bullseye the switch. Just click. These switches are annoying. Sometimes you can run over them and they don't activate. They have like a very specific hitbox or something, but they can be kind of annoying if you're trying to do them quickly. So I'm really happy whenever I can get one like first try, because I remember I was doing a run right before this one, and in the very first temple I tried to like run up the stairs, hit the switch, and jump down to where the Saffel is, but I just stepped on the button and nothing happened, and I was like, what the heck? Alright, coming up on the boss. This guy's not too bad. What's annoying about him, you can see the health values there from the armor I'm wearing, but only when I lock on. What's annoying about this guy is that sometimes he teleports around like crazy and sometimes he doesn't. It's very infrequent. But he's not that bad. Like, he's got really low health and I'm just smoking him. I just need him to stay put, more or less. But he can go invisible just like those other enemies, so he's not really too much of a concern, but just getting this last like 6 health is annoying. Because it's like, oh, I caught up to him, but now he's visible. There's the 0. And I slapped my split. Bad menuing. So yeah, I figure it's probably faster to quit the menu and come back because I gotta go to Velfin Hut now to drop off all the stuff. I also need to pick up the expanded wallet and the bundle of wood because those are both going to be very important later. The expanded wallet is just going to make it so that I can hold max money instead of 500, and that'll make it so that I can buy all the scrolls. But the bundle of wood goes with the hammer that I got earlier to complete a quest, which will give me a book, which I can trade for an ancient key, which gives me the sword upgrade, which is very useful. But more or less, we're just dropping off all the stuff, and I have just enough Saffel to buy the heart piece, so I don't have to come back here. Which I was kind of aiming for loosely, but to be honest, I think I kind of, not screwed myself, but I think I lost time by doing this. I think if my money was a little bit better, I could have saved time in the next area. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a sec, but you have to give like top hat to that kid, then come up here and get this one, and then I Santa Claus down the chimney, talk to the wrong person, grab that, talk to him, do the thing, boop, bloop, and get the heart piece, and I'm out. Now it gets interesting. So I found out that I think it might be a little faster to jump on this shrub and then go over this wall. So I was trying it out. I'm also not sure how to keep sprint in between different loading areas. I'm not sure if it's like holding forward while you're already sprinting, or jumping into a transition or something like that. But there is ways to keep it, and I haven't really found a consistent way, so I just kind of hope for the best. And anytime you see sprint instead of jog in that green circle, I'm losing time because I just didn't realize that I was moving slow, and it happens all the time throughout the run. Like, you could probably save like a minute alone just in doing that better. What am I doing? Oh, right, I'm going to get the book. So, trying to route some money here, get these pots. Doesn't really work out. I got jack. Now, what's kind of annoying is that you need to get this guy to take the hammer and the bundle of wood, and then he's going to build a little dock. But you have to reload the area, which is great when you have to teleport. But if you don't, you have to like leave and come back, and then he builds the dock. Now, I am so hopeful right here that this is going to work, and bam, I get exactly 100, which is just enough to buy this heart piece. It doesn't really save me a whole lot of time, but having more hearts is always better because it just means that I can play riskier further into the game. So, get the book, save and quit, and now we're off to the desert. Again, other side, you can jump on this little shrub. I missed a couple of times, but I think it's still faster than going around because you can just like jump off and go up here. Little time save. This is probably the area I'm the weakest in as far as like knowing what to do, but I kind of pivot halfway through this area and I do something a little stupid that loses me some time, but man, if it had worked out, I get really close, you'll see. But I'm coming over here to grab the heart piece, and like I'm at 0 cash, so I am not thinking about money right now, right? I'm just like, whatever. I'll need money eventually. I know there's a couple of pots over here. I'll see what happens. So right off the bat, I get some decent cash. And I'm thinking, okay, well that's nice. Boom, more cash. Boom, more cash. And then I'm just like, oh my god, if this keeps up, I could buy a berserker potion. So I get it in my head that I'm going to get this berserker potion and I'm gonna save so much time by doing more damage or whatever. I'm like, I'll get the sword faster, and theoretically, yeah, that is probably true. But what unfortunately happens to me is that I do not get the berserker potion, at least not right away. I'm like on my way to town and I'm like, are there any more pots? And then I see this glorious smorgasbord of bugs, and I'm like, okay, these guys have a high frequency of dropping red saffel. I'm gonna give it a shot. So I come in here and I'm trying to play it carefully so I can keep my health up, but I eventually take a hit, I think. Yeah, right there. But they ain't dropping anything for me, and very unfortunate. So after a few kills, I'm just like, you know what, I'm wasting my time and I'm just bleeding seconds at this point, but it was worth a try. I think if you were playing it a little bit more risky, maybe, but unfortunately I got no money drops. So what I then do is start using the pots that are around the village and hope for the best. So get the ancient key. There's this for the heart piece. Yeah. And then I get the money. And like, I'm getting so close, so I'm getting hype. And I'm like, okay, don't focus on this too much. But then I get 2 more, and I'm like, I'm $5 away. Come on. So I'm getting hype. I'm like, all right, get the heart piece. Break these open. I'm going to get the money. I get no money. Well, I get $1, but it's not enough. So I'm like, oh, crap. I don't know this area well enough. What am I going to do? So I'm breaking grass, just trying desperately to get that money. I get to 117, ponder it, and I'm like, oh, I'm wasting my time. So I try one more, and then I'm like, screw it, I'm out. And then I realize I can just save and quit because it's faster to go back to the ancient shrine or whatever it is where you need the key. So had I gotten that berserk potion, I think it would have saved a little bit of time here, and it would have saved me a trip back to town, because I do go back and get it, and that's probably slow. This fight goes pretty well, but she keeps backing off. And now you may be thinking that I'm like being kind of stupid and I'm staying in this path of the spike thing, but I found out that you can kind of do like a double parry. Like it kind of activated right there. If you parry an attack and then get hit at like certain times during your counterattack, you'll like do another attack. And it's very inconsistent, but I was going for it because I was like, okay, I don't have the berserk potion. What can I do to speed this fight up? Because if I'm just like wailing on her, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But anyway, she's down, get the ancient blade, and now I'm just like, all right, I'm going to go get the money, get the berserk potion, and then it's dungeon time. Just a lot of smaller improvements. I don't know what it is about this song that always makes me sleepy. Maybe it's the fact that I'm recording this at like 6:50 in the morning and I should be sleeping, but I was way too hyped to get the 120 and I needed to get this out while all the information was still fresh in my mind. So yeah, I'm not really worried about money anymore. I know I'm going to get plenty in the dungeon, and the only thing that I really need to buy is the heart piece here. So, excuse me. So I go grab the berserk potion, because I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, yeah, it's a little out of the way, and yeah, I just missed the potion and jumped, but it'll be faster if I'm doing more damage, right? Like, to the enemies, to the boss. It's got to save some time somewhere, but maybe? I don't know. I hope so. If not, I just wasted a bunch of time. But thankfully, the dungeon area is right over here, so it's not too far away from the village, so it's not like a huge trip out of the way. Going to grab this heart piece, and some weird stuff happens. I like jump at this guy and land on his sword, and he swings me instead. I just go zipping across the world. It was very sudden, and I was not ready for it. I do wonder about like major glitches in this game and how things could be done differently. Like I definitely think a 115 is very probable. Maybe even a 110 with like good RNG and execution and all that. But lower than an hour, I feel like you'd need to find some major skips. Like there would have to be like some door clipping and stuff like that. This dungeon especially. Like I've done this dungeon so many times in like hard mode and 3-heart run that I just kind of like don't even need the map. I just know where I am now. But it's on a cycle, so it's kind of tricky to do because like the first thing I do is I come over here and try to hit this blue switch as soon as possible. You're gonna see like the center of the room starts cycling. You can kind of hear it off to the left there. But at this point, the doors are on a timer for the rest of the dungeon. And what makes it interesting is that you can kind of route around it like what I'm doing here. Like I don't wait for that door. I go to this door to hit this switch to go get the bronze key. But I don't really pay attention to how much time has passed since the room has rotated. I feel it in my controller because it vibrates every time the layout is changing. Like you can hear it, but you'll feel it. So right now I'm just kind of keeping in mind that like I'm not going to be able to go that way because it rotated while I was in that room, so I'm going back up this way. And if done correctly, you can just kind of like slink in and out of the doors as they close, and that way you're never really waiting for any. I do get trapped at one point, and I think it was just at this point I was getting kind of lazy. But I do think with like proper door routing and execution, you could do this like super quick. So like, because I unlocked this door here with the switch, I can just slip out here while the other one is being covered. And now I'm just like heading around to the other side, because like right now I'm on the I'm on the west side of the building, and I'm heading towards the east. I went like north to west to south to east. This is south because it's like right where the entrance of the dungeon is. Now anytime you hear a click like that, the doors are locking and you got to do something. These bone guys here can't be killed, at least not yet. But they can be incapacitated. There's not really ever a reason to do so unless they get in your way. It's the lizard guys that are keeping the doors locked. So like right here, I'm like, ah crap, I missed the cycle, so now I gotta kill some time because I need to get in there to open the switch. So I'm like fighting this dude and grabbing the money, and there you see it starts spinning around, so I'm waiting for it to finish, and the door appears just as I break those pots. This guy's killed me so many times. He hits so fucking hard in hard mode. Whoops, I didn't mean to swear, sorry. I was doing so well. But anyway, he's killed me so many times in hard mode and in 3 heart mode because he just hits really hard. And I made the mistake in 3 heart mode of trying to do the like no sword no armor upgrade thing at the same time. Don't do it. It's stupid. Do them as separate playthroughs. I had such a terrible time. But I guess silver lining, it made me confident enough to do this run. So yeah, this room, gotta take these guys down. You don't have to kill them because you can't, but you do have to incapacitate all 3, and then it'll unlock a chest, which my first playthrough was not like super apparent because I was avoiding these guys because I couldn't kill them, right? And then I was like, oh, you need to knock them down to get the chest. And the chest is right over here, which I almost run by. I think it's here where I take... Yeah, I go into this room again, and I'm just like, wait, wrong way. I got turned around. So, unfortunate, stupid time loss, but hey, it happens. Grabbing the map. Now, I'm not too worried about my health at this point because I still do have that backup potion, but I am trying to be careful enough because I don't want to waste the potion. Wait, do I have the backup potion? Oh, I can't remember now. This one I unfortunately have to wait for, so I just kill this dude. I'm also trying to get a little bit of health back because I can't remember if I have the backup potion at this point, but anyway, getting a little hesitant trying to like farm these things for health, but they're not dropping it. Getting lots of money though. So we go into this room. There's these like bar things that come out to block your path, but it's just like a little maze. Once you've done it once, you pretty much got it memorized. Got hit by some acid. Unfortunate, but it happens. Those spiders leave like a little poison or acid splotch after they die. They have like a lingering hitbox, which is actually apparent for a lot of enemies in this game. They have like lingering hitboxes on their attacks, so some of them can actually hit you while they're dying, and it's super annoying every time it happens. At this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going for it. I've got 2 health. I got nothing to lose. Well, I got everything to lose, but I'm just like, if I go get health, it's gonna be such a like a time waste. Like I could break those pots and stuff, but I was like, you know what? I'm pretty confident in my ability to fight this boss, so I just hope for the best here. This guy is super annoying because like A lot of the bosses have animations that don't really match what the hitbox of their attack is, and it's kind of confusing. And this guy especially, like, you see the slap move he's doing? Like, sometimes it'll just pick you up and throw you across the room. And there's like holes on the, oh, I did have a potion, okay, good. But there's holes on the side of the room, and you'll just fall in, take damage. I somehow went into first person mode. I think I was like way too close to the boss's corpse. But yeah, split on the heart container. Now here's where I almost screwed up the run. I was thinking about saving and quitting, but I was like, no, it must be a little bit faster just to run out the front entrance. And it's a good thing I did, because I would have missed that heart piece. And here's where I get locked in, and I'm just like, I could go up and around, but it's probably going to be about the same amount of time if I just wait for the door. So I'm like, you know what? Break these pots, try to get some money. I get pretty much nothing. And then I just have to wait for the cycle. I also find out that you can open the door through this red stuff, which doesn't really help me much. Maybe it'll help somebody in the future, but it pushes you back a little bit. But the door is open, so I can just run whenever the earliest convenience arises. So, this is what I call the grind. It's probably one of the longer splits. But this is one of the things that I kind of developed myself to route the money, because this was the main thing that I noticed from the world record run at the current time. It was that he was relying on RNG drops from like enemies and grass, and going to areas that had large vegetation pools and stuff like that. And I was like, there's gotta be a way to streamline that. Like, it doesn't seem efficient. Like, maybe it's the best for what he has to work with, but there's got to be a better, more reliable way to do it. And I had the idea because I noticed this, again, exploit, oversight, intentional, I'm not sure. But once you get the wings, you can teleport to Magmu Village, and it puts you out not at the entrance of the village as if you were coming from the temple, but as if you were coming from the Crystal Cave. And you can just reload this area by going to current entrance over and over and over again. These 4 pots are here, and they'll keep respawning. And like I said earlier in the run, pots are very heavily weighted to money when you're full health. So if you get good RNG, you could potentially get $40 per set of pots. I find on average you get 10 to 20-ish. Sometimes you get nothing, sometimes you get a bunch. But you'll see that, like, this is where the majority of the run is for me. Like, this was my big contribution, I guess you could call it. This ended up saving a lot of time in the long run, but it is god awfully tedious. So here's the thing about this part. Not only are you like pressing the D-pad to go into the menu to select current entrance, but you're also dealing with like the fact that the game doesn't read your input sometimes, and the menus are not exactly snappy. So I think I probably could have saved a little bit of time by slowing down and being more meticulous, but I swear there's times where I'm pressing A and it is not making my selection. You'll see it very apparent. I even send myself back to the Sky Temple a couple of times, which is time loss, but I'm just like, well, frig, what else am I gonna do? Like, so this next little section, I don't really have a lot of commentary for, unfortunately, because it's literally just breaking pots for like the next, I don't know, like 15 minutes. And it's unfortunate that it's this tedious. I wish that getting money was a little bit more organic, because that's what I really love about this run in particular, as it is now, I guess, or in general, is that it's very much like a pure speed run. There's no real trickery. It's just understanding of the game. It's, you know, performing the maneuvers efficiently. It's good platforming. It's good routing. It's a little bit, well, I should say a lot of it RNG dependent. But you know what I mean when I say, like, it's not like if you were playing like a Zelda game and you had to learn to like slide backwards or bomb jump or whatever, like doing all these crazy glitches that require frame perfect inputs and all that stuff. It's very much just a fun, right to the point run for a kind of janky game. And I think the only thing that could make this better is if it was more consistent. Because, like, damage values seem to be inconsistent. Enemy placement seems to be inconsistent. Stuff like that. The RNG is all over the place for a lot of stuff. And, you know, you can have a good or a bad run depending on whether or not you got a bunch of red saffle. I'm sorry, I'm babbling at this point, but I mean, what else am I going to talk about? The main point of what I'm trying to do right now is that I pretty much bought everything except for the hut, the 3 scrolls that I'm missing, and I think that's it. Yeah. So the hut's 450. I decided to get that out of the way first. I kind of misread how much money I got, and I ended up with 444. But I'm like, you know what? I gotta go up to this hut anyway. I'm just gonna grab the free tenor by the chief's house and cut my losses, kind of thing. Lose a few seconds, but whatever. I got the 450. The other ones that you need to get are, I believe, 350, 575, and 750. And yeah, you can only hold 999, so I can't do it in one clean run. But what you can do is fill up your money twice, essentially. Because if I buy the hut now and I don't have any heart pieces, then if I fill up my money bag to like 980, 990 or whatever, I can get the 575 and the 350, and then come back and grind for the 750. And the 750 has an interesting property that I'll show when I get there, because again, I'm not sure if it's intentional or if it's like a glitch or an oversight or whatever, but when you get the 750 and teleport to the Sky Temple, you end up right in front of the forest entrance. And there's certain places where you'll end up in front of the entrances to different areas. And it's very strange because I don't know what triggers it. I think maybe if it's being in like certain areas, like see right there, I went to the wrong location. Just time lost, bad menuing. I swear, I'm trying to do this as meticulously as possible, but it's just the jank, man. Like the menus are kind of jank, the inputs aren't reading properly. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I should be playing mouse and keyboard, but I'm playing with a PS4 controller and it was doing me okay. But yeah, just like stuff like that, I feel if it could be better utilized, like there's got to be a way to zip around this game quicker, because there's just a lot of running. And I'm sure like if this game eventually ever gets picked up for like a GDQ or something like that, that enough eyes on it could probably get some interesting things happening in the code. But like I said earlier, I just wanted to contribute a little. I really enjoy the game. I really enjoy the speedrun. I don't plan on continuing with it, but I figured if I could bring down the time and maybe help with the routing and stuff like that, I could kind of like drum up a little bit of interest. Maybe make it a little more accessible and exciting. Because I want you to keep in mind that I am a complete idiot, and I managed to beat the world record by like 25 minutes, so... If I can do it, you can do it. All you have to do is copy this run, but do it better. And interject whatever you like that saves time. Pro tip, don't go for the Berserk Potion when you have $117 because it costs $120 and you're just wasting your time. But imagine if it had worked out. Oh, the dream. But there's a lot of things that are like, can you manipulate the RNG? Can you do things like what I call the godfish, where the fish is like close to the ladder, so that you could just like jump in the water, grab them, get the ladder, and keep going, instead of having it be like further away or swim away from you. Because sometimes he's very docile, sometimes he's very quick and erratic, and you never really know what to expect. You just kind of gotta hope for the best. So I feel like there's probably ways to manipulate the RNG, sorry. Or at least weigh it in your favor, which would be the most ideal. Man, I'm grinding so much money, and the grinding does not stop. like, it's unfortunate that this is so tedious because I would love, like, absolutely love to see an ideal situation where this run gets to the point where, like, you know exactly where to get all the most money and it becomes like a sub 1 hour run or something like that. I feel like it would be a really fun game to watch competitively, like watching people race this and stuff, because there's just so much dynamic to it. It's just unfortunate that like the combat is so terrible. Like I like the combat, it's functional, but like there's some questionable hitboxes going on. There's some janky animations. There's the enemies just doing whatever they feel like sometimes. Like sometimes they won't attack. Sometimes they'll attack very aggressively. Sometimes they will double attack or feign an attack. I've seen that where they like fake you out, and I'm like, excuse me, you can fake attacks? But it's a fun game. I really enjoy it, and I'm running out of things to say as I watch myself grind money because I'm feeling the tedium that I felt then. When I went out and bought that hut to give to the guy so that I could go back and get the final heart piece, I was so scared that I had missed something because I knew, like, in my theoretical routing in my head that has no notes or whatever, I was just like, if I get to the end and I'm missing a heart or something, I don't know what I'm missing at that point. But I'm glad that was not the case and that it worked out. But I was sweating bullets there for a second. But you can see how, like, this is a pretty good money farming method. Like, it takes a while, sure, but like any money farming method will take a while. But like, you get all 4 pots, you get $40. So like, let's say in a perfect world, you would need what, like 1675 or something like that. Oh, plus the hut, I suppose. So like 2025. If I'm doing the math right. But anyway, like if you're getting 40 a shot, that's only 50 trips, which I mean each trip takes. I honestly never even timed it. That's how much I cared. But okay, I'm just looking at the timer now. It's about 5 to 6 seconds per trip, which honestly not that bad. So let's say theoretically you could do all the grinding you need in 5 minutes if you get perfect grind or perfect RNG, which I know is unreasonable, but theoretically possible. I think the main time save for this run overall is just keeping your health up. Like I noticed in my playthrough that I'm pretty sure that as long as you're full health, the drops will be weighted towards money. So the more damage you're taking, the more you're sacrificing drops and getting hearts instead of potentially money. And I feel like that would help a lot overall because, like, let's say theoretically you never get hit and you cruise through the dungeons, you kill what you need to kill, get the pots and all stuff like that. You could probably get all the heart pieces, all the potions, and maybe the hut, and then you would just have to grind for the scrolls or whatever. So I think it is possible, but probably not reasonable, which is unfortunate. So I pretty much capped out my money. So I'm just like, you know what? I gotta go spend this real quick. It's not worth doing another trip. So instead of getting the 750, which is all its own shot, I get these two. One makes it so that you have a better dodge, and the other one makes it so that your revive potion gives you 6 hearts instead of 3, which is actually very useful. Kind of saves me on the last boss. I feel like it would be super useful early on if you were going for like super risky strats, maybe in like an any percent or something like that. Well, even then, I suppose any percent wouldn't even touch it because it would be going out of its way to get it. But never mind. I'm just babbling. I had considered doing like an any percent run, but then I was like, any percent basically means that I'm gonna have to beat it with 3 hearts again, and I did not have fun against that final boss trying to beat it with 3 hearts. It's doable, 100%. I got the achievement for it. It took a while. It was tedious. It was a lot of trial and error, and you could very easily die on the way to the boss. So that was the frustrating part. Like spending all of that time getting to the boss only to just be like pretty much two-shotted. And you're just like, oh my god. So this is the final bit of grinding. Gotta get the 750 for the scroll that gives you the extended combo. Extended combo is good. It does a lot of damage, but it's pretty situational. I feel like it's only really good against bosses. A lot of the other enemies die in a few attacks, and you also have to stay pretty mobile with them. But it does come in handy for like the last boss and stuff. I apologize, I'm yawning. I'm supposed to be in bed right now, but here I am recording this commentary. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble. I did the run, and I wanted to add some context to it, because I felt like if you're just watching this, it would be kind of dry. But I feel like explaining what's going on and what my thought process and stuff might help kind of route the game a little bit better, and also make for an entertaining run, I hope, because like I said, I'm doing this for fun. I'm not trying to be like super serious about it. So like when I'm jumping on slimes and making boing sounds and stuff, it's just for fun. It just so happens that I did this fairly quickly. I'm losing my voice, oh my god. I'm not used to talking so much. I don't even talk this much at work, jeez. Are you sick of this song yet? It doesn't even get to the good part. I would like to see like a sequel to this game or something in the same vein, but maybe a bit longer. Not like super long, but an expanded world. Because I find like this one's very like cut and dry, but it'd be cool to see the dev do this again. Maybe with like a more, I don't want to say open world, but like more biomes and stuff like that. It'd be cool to like do a little bit more exploring, a little more side questing, a little more personality for the NPCs. Because like, I don't know. I don't remember really what any of the NPCs say. The main thing I remember about this game is that there's a typo in the intro cutscene where it says relams instead of realms, and it cracks me up every time I start this game. Getting close, just another 130. I also hope that like, I'm saying this now at the end of the commentary, but I hope this is an acceptable format. Like, I did the run, I was just recording it through OBS, and like submitted it later. I don't know what's acceptable as far as a speedrun goes, so I hope this is okay and actually makes it into the leaderboard. Because essentially all I did was I just did one long recording of all my sessions and then just cut out the last one and uploaded it to YouTube with this commentary. So I'm just like recording into my my editing software right now while I watch the video on the other monitor. So hopefully that's acceptable and it doesn't have to be live commentary, because, you know, I was just kind of like screwing around, hitting record and seeing what happens, and I didn't expect that I would actually have to like explain myself. Okay, here's what I was talking about. Notice how like I had 751, I came back here and I was right in front of the forest entrance, and I just kind of like spin around because I'm like, where am I? Like, I didn't know where I was because I was expecting to be at the starting area of the Sky Temple. So a little bit of a time loss, but I was very disoriented for a couple of seconds. So yeah, end of the grind. 114 could probably be improved upon. Now it's just the last a little bit, so I gotta come up here and get what's it called, the goddess feathers, and that requires that you fight all of these plants again. But this time around, you need to get all of the tentacles. In the Kiwi Forest, you only need the red ones. Here you have to get all the tentacles, but because you're in the Sky Garden, you can kind of fly around with your glide. And I don't really have a good route for this. Like I said, the back half of the game is probably my weakest. This is just kind of me going through the motions, trying to get to the end. But I figured, you know, they kind of look like they're numbered, and they kind of follow like a little zigzag pattern, so I went, you know, main guy, 1, 2, and then I go up here and just kind of swing back around. Now, money at this point is useless. I don't want money, I want health, but as long as I can keep my health up enough to be able to fight the last boss, that's all that really counts. I'm just spinning around in a circle while I ascend because I was having fun. I was just like, wee! Probably shouldn't be messing around when I'm this late into the run, but whatever. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing, right? But yeah, I'm just trying to keep my health up, trying to get rid of these plants as soon as possible. You heard the click, and now we gotta go up here. And then what's funny is, for whatever reason, when I open this chest, I expect it to like pop out and come forward a little bit, but it just kind of floats there, so I'm like, I just should have stood in front of the chest, but like the maps and stuff, they all come forward, so that one doesn't, and it kind of threw me off. But yeah, we're in the final castle now. So this place is made up of just a bunch of enemies. Like, they're meant to represent like the different biomes and stuff that you've been to throughout the game. So these are like the starter area guys, or the forest biome, I suppose. I try to do this strat where I like group enemies up on me to maximize my damage against like all of the targets. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I try it right here, and like the spider just doesn't care. This guy doesn't care. These guys kind of group up, but I decide that it's probably not worth it, since no one is really grouping up. But the flies do come over, so that helps a little bit. And just makes it so that you can kill them in a nice little bunch instead of like going around fighting them individually. Small time save, I suppose, if you can get the vast majority of them. But as you can see, I am getting mostly money drops, which is unfortunate, and it's probably due to the Berserker Potion, but I was kind of hoping to go into the boss with full health. Not that it really ultimately matters, but I've had many a run die on this boss. Not for like world record attempts, but for just playing in general. Like, I find this boss in particular has some janky stuff to her. And she's got some like animations that she can cancel, and it makes for a very tedious fight if you don't know what to expect. The way I beat this when I was playing in hard mode and stuff was I just like took it super slow and like one hit at a time, dodging out of the way of the fire or whatever. But I was like, if I'm gonna save any time on this fight, I gotta go super aggressive. I gotta get in there. I gotta be parrying that fire. And that is unfortunate because that fire sucks. And what's kind of annoying is that she has essentially 3 attacks. She has like the dome thing she does in her second phase. Well, second phase, I'm using air quotes. She has like a spread fire and a single shot fire. The single shot fire is incredibly quick and it's hard to react to, but the spread fire is super annoying because not only does it come out to your sides, so like if you dodge to the side, you can accidentally jump in it, but it goes out in front of you, and if you parry it, it's fine. But if you don't parry it, it'll hit you multiple times, and it just chips away at your health so quickly. It's super annoying. So you see I'm going into the boss with 11 hearts, and just like just watch how quickly my health melts. Like, I thought for sure that the run was over right here. Because, again, I'm not good at the combat in this game. I just kind of do what works. And I go in super aggressive. I'm like, whoa, bam! Hits me immediately. But you see, I get the first few parries, and I'm not taking that much damage. But then she gets me right there, and that's like 3 hits, plus another hit on top of that. And then she's just like chipping me away, and my parry's just not doing very well. And my health is low. So, potion goes off. Thankfully, I had it. But out of nowhere, I just start chipping her down. Boom, 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 like 15 at a time. And I'm just like, alright, the run's back on. So I'm trying to be aggressive but also defensive, and boom, that's the final hit. 120 flat. I am very happy with the way this run turned out. I enjoyed playing this more than I thought I would, honestly, and it didn't take as long as I thought. I wanted to do a clean run. Like, I originally did like a 126 or something like that, but it had a couple of deaths and a bunch of screw ups and some routing problems and stuff like that. So I wanted to do like a reasonably clean run that had no deaths. There's a whole bunch of screw ups all over the place that can be improved upon, and I will leave that up to you to do so, should you so wish. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I hope that my routing and some of the things that I've done and just the money management and stuff in general is enough to improve the run to a point where it's a little more accessible and fun. I just opened my menu here at the end just to make sure I got everything. I'm missing the potion, but I had to use it in the battle, and I hope that still counts. But yeah, that's the run. Hope you enjoyed it. See you if I ever do something like this again. Take care.